Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Today you can see that I am participating with the Card Hoppin group for September. The theme this month is Case Yourself, and the techniques are markers or watercolor. So this is the card that I decided to case from last year. I created it last Halloween, and this is the project that I make today. So I decided to use the watercolors as my featured technique, and specifically the salt reaction on watercolor. I also used some markers on my ghosty image, but I'm not sure what this technique is actually called. I just know that I've seen some crafters use it. I saw Sandy Allnock most recently, seen Christina Werner and some others. Essentially, you lay down your watercolor on your background and then you sprinkle salt. Different salts have different reactions, different quantities, lots of different factors that will cause you to have different results. So today I'm just playing. I wanted to give it a shot. So I pulled out my Arches cold press, and I've got my Arteza I think it's my 36 half pan palette, and I'm just laying down some color. I know that I wanted to keep it in that same muted green kind of color scheme that I had on the other one, and I wanted it to be dark and broody and moody for Halloween. And if you remember, watercolor, like almost all mediums, is all about the layers, right? So what I needed to do was to allow this to dry in between, but I'm impatient, and I just kept laying down color upon color upon color, which sadly washes away a lot of the color that you have, and it doesn't allow the buildup of layers as much as if you'd allowed it to dry. So if I do this again, I will definitely have to make myself be more patient and either hit it with my heat tool or just walk away from it. But it's so fun to just allow watercolors to be watercolors and watch them bloom and blend and run and watch gravity work. Look how those colors just pull down on the page. And I'm wiping up any sludge that might kind of puddle at the bottom, and I'm laying down just different shades of greens. I pull in a lot of black. I pull in a little bit of brown from time to time. But while we finish watching this process, let me tell you some more about the hop. So again, the theme is Case Yourself. The techniques are watercolor or markers, and of course I'm using this salt reaction on watercolor, but I do use markers on my ghosty image. So these hops are originated or organized by my friend Jennifer Schoolcraft, and the group is comprised of members of the Handmade Happiness group from Facebook, and I will link to both groups downstairs. If you'd like to participate, we'd love for you to have the opportunity to hop along with us. The next maker in this lineup will be listed down below as well, linked down below as well, and I encourage you to hop along, show some love, get inspired. You may find your new favorite technique or crafter along the way. So here, going back to the card, I have my little bowl full of table salt, and it's just regular table salt. It's Morton's. It's nothing special. My paper is fully saturated, and it's puddled in some places, and I'm just laying down the salt. And then you just let time and salt do what they're going to do. So I clean out my workspace, I set it aside, and I actually had recorded probably an hour and a half worth of the drying process. But it's literally watching paint dry and salt react. So I cut out as much as I could and just left in like the bigger changes. So, and I have it sped up like super fast, like times 8, times 10, times 15. But here you can see a pretty big change. You can see it's kind of creating little cells of color. I think it's really cool. Just watching that happen. Science at work. Or is this just the ramblings of an art nerd? I don't know. Maybe both. But isn't that cool? I love it. All right, so the peel and reveal, right? Always my favorite part. Peeling away that painter's tape. Love that clean, crisp edge. You see all the movement in that background now? There's still a lot of pooling of the darker colors on the corners, which is what I wanted. Gives it that moody, broody look, right? So cool. I'm going to have to do this some more. Definitely going to have to do this some more. And so then I just use my fingers and apply some light pressure and a circular motion to remove the remnants of that salt. Now, I will try to remember to link Sandy Allnock's video downstairs as well, because she was talking about if you heat it during that process, you're likely to fuse the salt to your paper, and then you're going to have, I mean, unless you want grit, you're going to have loads of grit, and it might ultimately eat through your paper because, you know, salt is very acidic and it can react in that way. So it's unclear what might happen if you leave the salt on there. At least it's unclear to me. Someone out there might know. But yeah, I would just encourage you just to use a light hand and a little bit of pressure and just rub all that salt off. So now I have this sweet oddball ghostie from Stamping Bella. I just love the oddball series, y'all. They just speak to me. What they say, I'm not really sure, but they're talking. And I just pull out my Arteza Everblend markers, and I do have all three sets. I have the gray, I have the skin tones, and then I have the 100 and whatever pack it is, 120 maybe. And I love them. I love them. I'm not a Copic girl. I could never afford Copics, so I went with my Everblends, and I've not been upset about it 1 minute. So I just add layer upon layer because, again, it's about layers, right? For me, I go light to dark, dark to light, and back again. And then I start adding some maybe unexpected colors. So I've got those gray-green tones that I'm loving. That is like my favorite color palette right now, that gray-green. Yeah, love, love, love. And then I pull in this little pinky peachy to just give his cheeks a little bit of color. Add a little bit of color to the candies. And then I come in with some more orangey yellow greens, if that makes sense. You'll see here in just a minute after I do his shoes. His shoes have to be dark so they stand out from him, right? So here we go. This one's a little bit different. It's more of a yellow, orangey, greeny brown. If I can find the actual color, the color name, I'll list it downstairs. For those of you who might have Everblends as well, you might want to know which one it was. And if I can find it, I will tell you. But that's the one I feel that brings this guy to life. And then again, I just go back and forth and I blend it out. So I use the gray greens. I use the blender pen, remembering that the blender is more of an eraser, and it, for me, it kind of mutes those hard lines, right? If mute is the right word. I think we can use mute in this context. Dulls them, blends them, smushes them. And then I found these rosettes in my stash from an old 4th of July project, but I couldn't bring myself to throw them away, and I'm so glad. So I used some black soot and some ice spruce to spray paint these. They are the Distress Oxide sprays, and so I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want it because I don't want to lose that background. I did spray some shimmering mist from Technique Junkies on just to give the whole background a shimmer, and I've got a few white splatters with my Posca pen, and then I flipped this one over and look at that magical grunge. That is the happiest accident that I've had in a very long time. I'm in love with that grunge. So I trim away all that excess, and of course I'm not going to get it all because that little white disc is what was holding my rosette together, but I trimmed away enough that my ghostie will cover it. So I layer these rosettes, I put some foam tape on the back of my ghostie, and I get him all layered up there. And oh my stars, he's adorable. And those rosettes, perfect. Perfect. Shop your stash, guys. And then I have these sweet alphabet dies. They are called, I don't know. I'll have to list it downstairs. They're from Whimsy Stamps. I think they're called the Cutie ABC dies. And I just layered them up with some green polka dot pattern paper from my stash and it's actually like a gold sheet from Tonic, and I layered them up and offset them. But I wanted them to be present but blend into the background, because that ghosty and the actual background are the features on this one. Oh my gosh, that grungy rosette is my heart right now. But this is my final project, guys. This is the one that I cased, and this is my finished project. So let me know what you think. Again, the next designer in the hop is listed downstairs. I encourage you to hop along, show some love, get inspired, like, subscribe, comment, all the things. And for now, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy, with the Card Hoppin group from Handmade Happiness. Until next time, I'm out.